everyone, my name is Camila, and today we're going to be getting into C207, which is data-driven decision making, which I passed just last week. If you're new here, I originally started off with the MBA. I got to accounting, I hated it, it was the worst thing ever. I switched to HR just because it was the only class in the entire MBA program that I had taken that I had actually liked, so that's what we did. We switched to HR, and C207 is actually still in the HR program. It's part of it, so it all worked out. First thing I had to do was set up my Excel. So you do have to use Excel for this class. It's a data analysis class, so you have to use Excel. They have a specific Excel add-on that you have to include in your analysis with your PAs because there's two different performance assessments. The number one piece of advice that I can give is to go through the Express Cohort page that is in the course resources. Even if you don't accelerate, even if you don't do the Express timeline, it's still super helpful because it lays out every single cohort video there for you to watch. It has information on how you can do the add-on, how to proceed with the assessment. It's great. So and I have my computer right here so I can review and I can give you good advice and it's all factual. So I'm going through the document right now. The first thing that it asks you to do actually is go through the quick tips, and you can see videos on tips on doing the performance assessment, tips on adding the Excel add-in like I mentioned before. It also then goes into writing task 1. Something that really helped me when writing this task was Spencer Wobbles, I think is his name. His Facebook post on the WGU MBA program's Facebook page was so helpful because he walks through everything that he did for the performance assessments and the OA. So he said that he had a Sudoku account. He said if you don't have Sudoku, then to definitely get it because it's a game changer and a lifesaver. Pretty much what it is, you are able to view other people's assignments that they've submitted, so their PAs, not copy it because obviously that's plagiarism. But for me, at least, that would have been so helpful for my first class, which I think is C200 for everybody, because I had no clue how to write an MLA paper. I had no clue how to even structure the paper, and this really helped me structure C207's PAs as I went on. I did end up reaching out to him because originally I wasn't going to get a Sudoku account, and in his Facebook post it did say, if you all don't have a Sudoku account, reach out to me and I'll give you my papers so that you can review them. I reached out to him, but he didn't get back to me soon enough, as soon as I wanted to get the PA submitted, so I ended up getting a Sudoku account anyway, and then he ended up sending me the papers. So there are different versions of this class specifically. I think that other classes like C200 or whatever other classes there are other versions as well. This one, I think I'm in version 6. The PA that I reviewed for an example, which is the one that Spencer listed in his Facebook post, that one is part of a different version, so it didn't align exactly. Also, for every single performance assessment that you do, you have to download an Excel spreadsheet that they have for you already, and it's a prompt, and you pretty much are just analyzing it using the statistical analysis tools and writing up a performance assessment on what you found, if you're able to reject the hypothesis, things like that. And if you don't know what that means, then you'll get into it. The modules are so amazing at breaking it down. Module 3 specifically breaks down how to do a t-test, which is what you're doing in your performance assessments, as well as how to reject the null hypothesis when you reject the null hypothesis. The different modules that they also have is things like how to write a hypothesis or a null hypothesis, how to structure different things for your PAs. I started the PAs the moment that the class opened up for me. I got through them in a week, and there are 2 PAs. Got through them in a week. The modules, super helpful. Sudoku, super helpful. The first PA, I got it back once because I was associating causation. You'll learn more about that once you get through the class. I'm not a course instructor, so I'm just kind of going through my experience with the class, but that's what happened. Got the first PA back. The second PA did not get any revisions back for me to do. You do have to do kind of a lot of math, but luckily, because we're not mathematicians in this class, which is something that they say very often with the modules, they use the addition thing that you add to your Excel to do the math for you. You just kind of have to know what it is that you're plugging into the different software, which again, the modules help you with. So now that we're done with the PAs, let's get on to the OA. It did take me about a month to finish this class. I did the PAs, I took a break. I was terrified for the OA. I was nervous. I'd never experienced statistics before, data analysis before. I just was so overwhelmed from my previous classes. Not that I was overwhelmed, but I was burnt out. I didn't want to get started with this class and then feel those negative feelings when you see that you fail in OA and then you have to do everything all over again, or you can't do the OA again because the course instructor has to release the hold or whatever it is that they have to do. I just didn't want to have to go through that, but finally 2 weeks ago or so, I started actually studying for the OA, and the thing that helped me was going through all of the modules. There's 6 modules, I believe, or 7. I was writing my notes by hand at first when I wasn't understanding something, because a lot of this is things I've never heard before, and I really wanted to understand everything, not just memorize everything. When I didn't understand something, I would go to ChatGPT, plug in the definition of something, or I'd plug in the word, and I'd say, give me an example of logistic regression, structure it in a way as if you're speaking to a 5-year-old or you're speaking to a kindergartner or something like that. It would then spell it out for me and it would explain it for me, which was really great, and that actually allowed me to understand it a lot more. Once I got to module 5, I decided that I was just going to take a break because I was very overwhelmed. Modules 1 through 4 have so much information. The other modules are more so like, not organizational structure, but let me actually look and see what they are. Yeah, section 5 is like quality management basics and real world decision making, and that was a little easier because it wasn't as much numbers and as much like statistical tools to use. Prior to taking that break, and when I was writing the module notes by hand, I had also been doing the end of chapter quizzes, and I reached out to my instructor to see if she could send me quizzes as well, because that's how I learned best, and I wanted to see how the questions were structured and how they would be structured on the OA potentially. I came back, I realized, oh, I actually remember a lot of this information. It's actually good to take a break in between forcing yourself to learn all of this stuff. So I definitely recommend doing that. Friday is when I started, Friday night. I was taking notes on my computer this time, just anything that I didn't remember that I wanted to retain. I would write them down on my computer. Once I got to modules 5 and 6, I was kind of learning those on the spot. When you're listening to the modules, a lot of the time the instructor is saying you're supposed to read the textbook and this is just a supplemental thing that you can review. The modules do have a lot of the information that's being expressed in the textbook and that you'll experience on the OA. There's also some stuff in the textbook where there are some concepts that they don't go over in the modules. When I came back from my break, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday I took the OA, that Friday and Saturday I would watch the modules and then I'd go back to the textbook and I'd see, okay, what did they not go over? I'd go through the pages, and then those things were mainly the ones that I plugged into ChatGPT so that it could explain it to me, because I understood a lot of what the modules were saying since it was an instructor explaining it to me. Just reading it, it just doesn't come across in the same way for me. I'm not able to digest it. That Sunday, I decided I was going to take the OA that day because I felt like if I didn't take it today, I would just be prolonging the process. I wouldn't want to take it during the week because I work then. I wouldn't feel like I have enough time to study before the test, so I just decided, hey, why not? I did the PA. I had gotten competent, so that was good. Modules 5 and 6, I was still approaching competency, so I had to brush up on those prior to the OA just to make sure that I was all set and good to go. And I actually, on the MBA Facebook page, I posted my PA notes, or my PA, what I got. I asked everybody, hey, do you think I'm ready? And people said, yes, absolutely, just do it. And I did it and I passed. And it was shockingly very, I wouldn't say easy, but I knew more than what I didn't know. I was very glad to see that. I also didn't go into the OA with a lot of anxiety. I remember my first OA, which was C202, I believe it was, the HR fundamentals or whatnot. That one I went in with a lot of anxiety. It was my first OA. I was second guessing every single answer that I was putting down, but I ended up passing, which was great. For this one, I didn't second guess anything. Luckily, I was able to use process of elimination to eliminate the answers that I didn't really think were part of the equation for the question that I was asking. Another thing that I recommend when you're in the OA read the question first, because sometimes the word problem itself will confuse you a little bit, but the question itself will allow you to understand it a lot more. That is all I did for this class. Took the OA. I had a great experience with ProctorU. Nothing crazy went on like most people are experiencing. One thing I will say that might help is exit out of all of your tabs prior to starting the test, because that, I believe, is what has helped me. I've just cleared out of all of my tabs, and then I open up the ProctorU app or whatever it is that it is. I have not had a problem. Hopefully that continues for the rest of my program, because I still have about, I think it's 4 or 3 OAs that I have to take. I have 3 PA classes that I have to do, so I'm still trucking along. I'm getting there. I am still planning to finish in 1 term, and if I'm at the end of May and I need an extension, I'm going to ask for one, because there's no way, especially if I have only 1 class to do, there's no way I'm going to pay tuition once again just to get through 1 class. That's just insane to me. So that's where I am. That is my plan. That is what I did to get through C207. Again, if you don't have a Sudoku account, definitely get one. I'm going to also put a link to Spencer Wobbles' Facebook posts that I reviewed as well. Previously, I was posting videos every single week. That was absurd. I can't believe I put that expectation on myself. Working full-time, doing school, full-time, part-time, whatever it is, trying to live my life, and then doing videos at the same time, and editing. It was just a lot, and I think that's why I got burnt out a lot of the time. But now I'm just going to post videos whenever I finish a class. Next class I have is C201, Business Acumen, which is part of the Human Resources Management. Luckily, for C201, I took the PA. A lot of what I've learned in my previous classes, I actually retained the information, and so when I took the PA, I was able to get approaching competency. Marketing and economics are in the red for me, but everything else was like yellow or green, which was great, especially financial management and accounting. Can't believe I retained as much info as I did, but I was approaching competence there, so that's good. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Bye!